You check the message again. You pretend not to care, but part of you is waiting for a reply, a compliment, a sign that you still matter. And if seeking validation is making you weaker, why does it feel impossible to stop? In the next few minutes, you will understand why seeking validation is destroying men's confidence far more than most realize. And once you understand it, you will never place your self-worth in someone else's hands again. Marcus Aurelius understood that a man becomes a prisoner the moment his peace depends on the opinions of others. The world has changed. Human nature has not. Today, many men spend their lives chasing approval from strangers, employers, friends, and relationships, while wondering why confidence keeps slipping away. 1. Validation is a drug that never satisfies. You have been there. You post something and check who noticed. You accomplish something and immediately wonder who is impressed. You enter a room and quietly measure how people respond to you. For a moment, approval feels good. Then it fades, and you need another dose, another compliment, another sign of acceptance, another reason to feel valuable. The Stoics called this dependence on externals. What it means for you is simple. Anything outside your control can never provide permanent stability. The more you need validation to feel valuable, the less valuable you feel without it. But here is what most men never realize. 2. Every request for approval is a vote against yourself. You have been the man who changed his opinion to fit the room, the man who laughed when he disagreed, the man who stayed quiet because honesty felt risky. You wanted acceptance. You wanted belonging. You wanted to avoid rejection. But every time you abandoned your truth, something inside you noticed, and confidence quietly left through the back door. The Stoics called this self-betrayal. What it means for you is that confidence is not built by convincing others. It is built by remaining loyal to yourself. Every time you seek permission to be yourself, you teach yourself that who you are is not enough. And it gets worse, because 3. The world respects men who need it least. You have seen it before. The man who desperately wants attention rarely receives it. The man who desperately wants respect rarely keeps it. The man who desperately wants approval often appears uncertain. Yet there is another man. He speaks calmly, acts deliberately, needs nothing from the room, and somehow people listen. Not because he demands respect, because he does not depend on it. The Stoics called this inner authority. What it means for you is that people trust men who trust themselves. Dependence creates weakness. Independence creates presence. The moment approval becomes a necessity, respect becomes impossible to keep. The next point is the one men refuse to hear, but you need to. 4. Validation makes you easy to control. Why do some people manipulate so easily? Because they understand a simple truth. If they control the reward, they control the behavior. A compliment becomes leverage. Attention becomes leverage. Acceptance becomes leverage. The man who craves validation can be directed like a ship without an anchor. He follows whoever provides temporary approval. The Stoics called this slavery of the mind. What it means for you is that freedom begins when praise and criticism lose their power over your actions. The person who controls your need for approval controls your behavior. But here is where the path changes. 5. Real confidence is built in silence. Most men think confidence comes from recognition. The Stoics understood something deeper. Confidence is built when nobody is watching. It is built when discipline replaces applause, when effort matters more than attention, when standards matter more than popularity. You wake up early. You keep your word. You train. You learn. You improve. Not because somebody might notice, because your character notices. The Stoics called this virtue. What it means for you is that confidence grows from evidence you give yourself, not evidence provided by others. The strongest confidence comes from promises kept in private. You thought confidence came from being accepted, but the Stoics knew something different. Confidence is not the reward for approval. Confidence is the reward for self-respect. The man who depends on validation lives at the mercy of strangers. The man who depends on character carries his stability everywhere. One life rises and falls with public opinion. The other remains steady regardless of who applauds. The man who understands this does not announce it. He does not seek recognition for becoming stronger. He does not chase approval for choosing a different path. He simply adjusts. He stops performing. He stops negotiating his worth. He stops asking the world to confirm what he already knows. His confidence becomes quieter, stronger, more difficult to shake, harder to manipulate, harder to control, harder to break. And that is enough. Save this for the night you feel like giving up. If this truth reached you, the next video will go deeper. The hidden reason most men lose self-respect without even realizing it